Hello, everybody. Benjamin Gottlieb here with Gottlieb Law. With rental rates rising over the past couple of years and all of the activity in commercial real estate here in Arizona, it's important to review the lockout remedy. A lockout remedy is one that commercial landlord employs in order to enforce a default of a commercial lease. As a threshold matter, it's important to distinguish a residential lease from a commercial lease. In the residential space, a residential landlord actually does not have the ability to ever lock out the tenant under Arizona law. That's because Arizona has enacted what's called the Arizona Residential Landlord Tenant Act, which has a series of laws that are designed for the protection of the tenants. And one of those protections is that a residential landlord has to pursue a judicial eviction through the courts rather than pursue a self-help remedy such as the lockout remedy. In the commercial realm, however, it's much different. The law is much more hands-off, and really what the parties need to do is look at the terms of the lease to determine what their rights and obligations are. And so if you're a commercial landlord and the tenant has defaulted, you're going to want to carefully review the lease to determine if under Arizona law and your lease, you have the right to lock out the tenant. But there's often a much more subtler and more overlooked concern that is often not given adequate consideration, and that is whether the breach by the tenant justifies the lockout in the first place. And so in that realm, it's important to distinguish between a material breach and an immaterial or trivial breach. The landlord in general is only permitted to lock out the tenant if it's justified by the breach of the tenant. And so if the tenant, for example, due to a banking error has submitted rent and it arrives one day late and the landlord receives assurances that the rent is on the way, a court might conclude in that instance that that breach, even if the rent was late, does not constitute a material breach, and therefore the lockout remedy is not justified. It's important for commercial landlords to take the exercise of the lockout remedy very seriously because substantial legal damages can ensue from a wrongful lockout claim. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.